Today, I'm joined by Paolo Ardoino, Chief Technology Officer at Tether. Tether tokens are the most widely adopted stablecoins, having pioneered the concept in the digital token space, the most popular of which is USDT. You can think of USDT as a digital dollar that can transport on public ledgers. Tether was founded in 2014, making them one of the original firms in the crypto industry. Tether tokens are pegged one to one with a matching fiat asset or currency and backed by Tether's reserves. Today, Tether has the third largest market cap as a circulating supply of approximately $86 billion. So let's learn a little bit more. I'm really excited to have Paolo on today, and we've got a little tradition here, Paolo. So we need to learn a little bit more about you. How did you earn your first dollar, peso, lira, or buck when you were growing up? What was the way you sort of started to discover money in your career?
Yeah, so the first job I had was to work for my uncle farm, right? So I come
Farmer.
from a small
That's such a
town.
crypto story.
Yes, I come from a small town in Italy, and my parents had a small farm, and also my uncle, and so every summer I was working there, and I wanted to buy my first laptop. I had a personal computer actually at home, right, when I started coding at the age of 8, and then I had to work on my uncle's farm to afford to buy the first really old bricky IBM laptop. Was like 10 centimeter probably thick, right? I felt like a hacker back then. I had was no one that I knew had a laptop, and I spent basically probably 3 summers of work just to buy that one.
Cool. I like that story a lot. Thanks for sharing that. So let's fast forward a little bit. You get your first laptop, a thick brick IBM. How did you first learn about cryptocurrency? What was sort of your journey into discovering that?
Yeah, I'm a developer by formation. Kept working all my life in coding actually, and I've always been excited by distributed applications, high performance computing, and resilient networks and things like this. And I also joined the financial industry as a developer with my own startup in London in 2010 around, and then up to 2014, 15. And while I was in London, my daily job was to deal with hedge funds and banks and reconcile all the numbers. And because when you are a hedge fund, you have tens of counterparties, and was extremely boring and frustrating work. And then I came to across the Bitcoin white paper, and I first look at many say that they immediately understood the potential of the currency. I would probably not wasn't that smart probably, but actually I looked at the blockchain aspects, right? How blockchains have this beautiful set of features like of course resiliency, but also data consistency, right? So everyone that has a synchronized node would see the same values for each account. So imagine how could make the entire traditional financial accounting space more efficient and less expensive to maintain and to upgrade and so on. So I looked at that first, and then over the following months, I started scratching my head and then understand, trying to think about Bitcoin more as a currency, and then it clicked to me that is actually the most powerful currency ever created, and could be like that is the legitimate internet currency. So that is how I started my journey actually in crypto.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so I have to ask, what does the Chief Technology Officer at Tether do? What does your day-to-day look like?
So I wake up, think to the memes that I have to publish over on Twitter on in the day, and then I actually spend half of my time in coding. Um, I worked still as I'm the lead engineer and architect at Bitfinex as well, so I code a lot, all the matching engine parts. And on the Tether side, I oversee the blockchain deployments and security, right? So one of the critical thing in Tether is we support around 10 different blockchains. And is when we decide how to deploy or when to deploy and which blockchains we want to choose, that there are, of course, business decisions, but the ultimate decision is security, right? So you don't want to deploy on a blockchain that gets subject to a 51% attack, for example. And my job is reviewing all the data, the audits, discuss with the rest of our team to understand the possible attacks, and then finally calling the decision on where to deploy.
Okay, cool. So, talk to me a little bit about the founding team of Tether and Bitfinex. And what is Tether, and what is its product market fit? What was it trying to do from the very beginning?
Well, Tether was born by the bright minds of Bitfinex, right? Bitfinex is one of the oldest exchanges, and if you remember back then, also you guys have quite a long history, right? So if you remember back then, you had the markets, right, were not in line across exchanges. You had Bitcoin dollar pair and was trading really differently across the different trading venues. And 2013 was the first time Bitcoin went above $1,000, and you had some exchanges trading $200 above or below others, and was super annoying. A sign of a maturing industry is there should be efficiency in the markets. That's critical. And you can see how if you have a trading pair like Bitcoin USD, that is a trading pair, means you have two currencies, and these two currencies are Bitcoin and the US dollar. But when you want to, in order to have a healthy market, you need to enable something that is called trading arbitrage. You need to be able to have traders that can sell Bitcoin on the exchange where the price is higher and buy it back on the exchange where the price is lower. But in order to do that, they need to do two operations. They need to be able to send the Bitcoin on the exchange where the price is higher, and when they sell the Bitcoin there, they need to be able and quickly move the dollars on back towards the exchange where the price is lower. But in order to do that with Bitcoin, it's pretty easy. You send one Bitcoin transaction. The average block time of Bitcoin is 10 minutes. When it comes to dollars, back in the day, also today, but back in the day, if you were doing international wires, it would take ages, right? It was like 1 day, 5 days, 7 days. You didn't know that, right? So, and sometimes it was rejected, and your trading opportunity was long time gone. So the really brilliant, but even in a way really simple idea of Tether was, okay, we have Bitcoin that has this brilliant technology called blockchain. Why we are not using that to put a dollar on top of it, right? Simple as that. So now suddenly you could move Bitcoin within 10 minutes from one exchange to another. You could move dollars from one exchange to another within 10 minutes, same time frame. The first iteration of Tether was using OmniLayer, that was Color Coin built on top of Bitcoin. So from there, the many years passed, and Tether grew from a crypto trading only settlement currency, and to be like now is settling around $50 billion every day, up to, at peak was 120 billion per day, right? So is the most traded cryptocurrency in the world, even higher Bitcoin. And the use case of Tether kept growing outside of crypto, and now are all about remittances and servicing, being the money of people in emerging countries.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about the sort of three and almost emergent examples of how Tether is being used, not just for individuals and exchanges, but also merchants. So I'll get to that in a little bit. A lot of people don't remember, like you said, in 2014, the crazy arbitrage opportunities between exchanges that were in Japan versus ones in Europe versus the United States. And Tether sort of really created a fluid price discovery capability by being able to make it possible for traders to essentially hold dollar balances on the blockchain, transport that value to another venue, and then consistently sort of bring better and fairer prices to crypto. And so that continues to this day, and it's been quite the story. I think the Tether history is pretty interesting. So let's talk a little bit about this. The teams that you sort of support between Bitfinex and the Tether group, like how many people are working on this? I don't know if the community has a good sense for how large the kind of human capital is behind all the effort. What does that look like?
So Tether has around 60 people, Bitfinex around 200, and keep in mind that across all these people, around 260 people, they are all spread around the world. Nowadays, I think we are touching 59 different countries. So that's one of the things that I love most about these companies, because I'm Italian. I have lived in Europe for all my life, and I you know I was never exposed to other cultures. And when I think to Bitcoin, for me is like money that is for everyone, right? For the poor, for the rich, for everyone, right? And there are problems in the world that you cannot figure out if you don't talk to other people with other experiences, with other cultures. And that's what I love, right? So we can create products that have a real world utility only if the people that are contributing to these products are coming with the most different backgrounds possible.
Yeah, that's something I care a lot about too, which is making sure we're building tools and financial infrastructure that treats everybody the same. And that's one of the things I got excited about over a decade ago. And it's one of the reasons I'm still so motivated in our industry to work on that promise. So today, Tether is available on all kinds of blockchains, starting off originally on the Bitcoin one. I think the largest Tether balances are now held on the Ethereum protocol, but it's available on Algorand, Avalanche, Bitcoin Cash's Simple Ledger protocol, Omni, Polygon, Tezos, and more. So talk to me a little bit about sort of maybe the future for you guys. Like, what are some things you're trying to improve at Tether and with Tether? Like, what are some things you're exciting about?
So I think that the future of stablecoins is actually being the money for the average person, right? So and they are not stablecoins shouldn't be trying really hard to compete with banks. We are excited about fulfilling the vision of our industry, right? We are Bitcoiners by nature. We believe that everything that was that pushed the Satoshi group or Satoshi person to create Bitcoin was actually trying to make something wrong into something good. Like the first block in 2009 was referring to the 2007-8 financial crisis, and we at Tether, we really believe in the fact that there are the current traditional financial industry is something that needs to change radically. In order to change radically, we have to start from technology. We have now the technology primitives to make that happen, and stable coins could be and Tether are one of the key features, key components of this revolution, in my opinion. Right, I've been talking to people from Nigeria, Venezuela, Turkey, Argentina, um, um, Vietnam, India. They are all using Tether, and believe it or not, until mid last year, Tether didn't even have a marketing team, right? Didn't have a PR team. It's like the growth of Tether has been done organically, right? It works, has been adopted just because it's useful. So speaks a lot about our product. Also, we look like a little bit too simple minded and men, right, in a way, because we are like this group of guys that really focus on the technology, focus on like our vision, that we don't we didn't look much around, right? But that to us tells a good story on how things that are actually useful work independently on how much your marketing expenditure is. And we want to continue in that direction. We want to build consumer applications that are actually going to spread usage of good tech, like Bitcoin, like Tether, and will make this accessible to the unbanked part of the population of the world. The role of Tether is more and more servicing those communities rather than trying to compete with Wall Street, right? That is, we don't care about competing with the Wall Street. They have already the best dollar ever, right? They have the best dollar rails ever, so they don't need us. But in the world, there are many countries that are in desperate need of dollars, right? Dollar is the reserve currency of the world, and you of course, I prefer Bitcoin, but if you go in Turkey, they have a national currency that is devaluating by 80% per year, and compared to the dollar. And of course, for them, they want something that is stable. They want something that they can hold in their wallet, on their phone. And I was talking to this friend of mine, and he was telling me that he has children, and he was saying, "Look, Paolo, it's not me trying to become rich. I'm actually but I'm trying to use Tether as almost as an investment mechanism, because for me it's just wealth preserving. For everyone else, it's just wealth preserving, but for him was actually trying to um, survive, is a lifeline. So he wants to send his children to study abroad, as many parents want, trying to get different for their children, different cultures, have access to maybe better schools and whatever. And he was saying to me that he was, at the end of the year, he was poorer than at the beginning of the year, because he, even if he was saving in Turkish lira, the value of Turkish lira against the euro or dollar completely dropped. And so his ability to send his children to study abroad was much harder. So that is the type of stories we want to help, right? So, and also all these unbanked people, they are counted as 2 billion. It's not that there are like bad people. There are great people, just too poor, but they are just too poor to have even a bank account. That feels like crazy, right? Even to be said, but yet it is the world we are living in, right? So because the cost of onboarding, the cost of maintaining a bank account open is insane, right? Is insanely high. So if a bank cannot make enough money on them, they will just refuse them as a customer. But that's why stablecoins are critical. Stablecoins and Tether is actually helping the US dollar adoption and spreading around the world, right? We are strengthening the position of the dollar as the reserve currency, because
Yeah, because
we
everyone
we
wants
are
it. They want to have a dollar balance on their smartphone so that they can protect against local currency devaluations and then access global
exactly.
markets. It totally makes sense. So there's stable dollars. We've got a stable euro coin now. What are the other ones that you guys are supporting?
So I think that most beautiful one among, well, of course, they're all our babies, so I shouldn't pick winners, but the most beautiful one, in my opinion, is Tether Gold. It's the Tether Gold is probably the perfect stable coin, right? So in our industry, there was always this there is always this fight between gold bugs and Bitcoiners, where they clash together. And the important message here with Tether Gold is the fact that you know, um, gold is not in competition with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has already won on many levels, right? So it's more transportable, it's secure. You have just 24 words, and it doesn't matter if you have one Bitcoin or 10,000 Bitcoin, right? It doesn't matter. You have just 24 words, and you can carry with them anywhere. Um, but gold is probably the perfect stablecoin. So if you want ever, for some reason, to trade out of your Bitcoin position or other coins position, you nowadays you would sell it for dollars, and will keep a dollar balance. But we have seen what happened recently in the last 34 years with dollar. A ton of dollars
Yeah,
has
the
been printed.
inflation rate today, you said it
Yes.
was bad in, Turkey or Argentina, but, the United States is reporting the highest levels of inflation in 50 years. So I think, and obviously a gold-backed stablecoin presents a very interesting alternative for people around the world today.
Yeah, and as again in emerging markets, well, again we are, this is the same pattern. We don't serve the US, but we are actually focusing on emerging markets and developing countries that have been historically really close to the gold, right? So they uh, families in India and Turkey, and Italy as well. We have been historically having all these families had this small stash of gold that would carry if something would happen in the country, of war, whatever, right? They were running away, and the only thing that could carry with them to pay for the travel, pay for their safety, was gold, right? That is something that we understand as a population really well, has been with us for the last 5,000 years, right? Even more. So Tether Gold is a way to get back to the to the gold standard. Is something that is a strong, and the beautiful part of it is that it's not a gold certificate, right? It's not a gold future. It's actually gold bars. We use the 12.5 kilos gold bar, around 400 ounces of gold, with the highest purity, and they are all stored in Switzerland. So Tether Gold has partnered up with these vaults in Switzerland. They are the safest vaults in the world, and any customer that has 440 ounces or 440 Tether Gold tokens can get his gold bar delivered in any address in Switzerland, or come to a specific location and get the
And
gold
get
bar. Of
physical
course,
delivery. Got it.
yes, and each gold bar has its own unique ID and so on. And this is I think that with this crazy world we are living in, with the geopolitical uncertainty and so on, a product like Tether Gold makes more and more sense.
Yeah. So I know we're running a little short on time, so I'll try and wrap it up for us today. But the one of the things that is so important is that trust between the gold being there, and the dollars and the assets that are behind each one of the stable coins. So talk to us real quickly about the Tether.to transparency report and how that works, to provide confidence to the market that all of the assets are really there to back up these pegs.
So I'm super excited because today we actually announced a really big step up in our reporting. So we signed up, and tomorrow there will be the first attestation provided by BDO Italy, that is part of BDO Global, that is the fifth accounting firm in the
I was going to
world.
say, for
So
those that don't know, BDO is a gigantic global accounting company, provides the highest basic levels of accreditation and certification for audits.
yeah, so our attestation that is coming up tomorrow, it is the first one done by them, and I'm super excited. This is our journey, right? So we started providing attestations last year. We were the first company and the stablecoin to provide a breakdown of reserves. So people were wondering what was in the reserves of stablecoin. We were the first one to provide that with a breakdown. That is really openly here. The elephant in the room is the commercial papers. Back then, in the mid 2021, Tether had $30 billion in commercial papers, and they were questioned. So to address the questions, we provided a breakdown also of the ratings of the commercial paper, and the vast majority was rated A1 or A2 by Standard and Poor's. So really, really high quality commercial papers, but still, and extremely liquid. Still, the community was a little bit concerned. So we decided to address the concern. We raised a hand and say publicly, look, guys, we are going to completely wipe out the commercial papers and go in full majority in treasury bills. And that process started last year these are short-term loans, so they will expire. And while they were expiring, we always convert them more and more in US treasuries. And so the size of commercial paper, long story short, went from 30 billion mid last year, to last 30 of July 2022, so a couple of weeks ago, was 3.4 billion, so 90% decrease. By end of August, so in 2 weeks, will be around 200 million, so almost zero. By October, will be zero. So all these concerns about commercial papers, all the FUD around Evergrande, and all these crazy things, we never had them. We fought all the FUD, and still now we can say, look, guys, whatever, we don't have any of those anymore. What else we can do for you? So
Right. And the
also we
promises
had
and proofs will now be certified by a global auditor, which hopefully will
exactly.
provide extra levels of evidence to the tribal fear, uncertainty, and doubt sharers on the internet, of which there seems to be an unlimited amount. Okay, cool. I
Sure
guess
thing.
last question for you today. What are some of the key adoption metrics that you and the team look for, the core, I don't know, statistics that demonstrate that more and more people are really adopting stablecoins, Tether. What are you guys looking for there? Is it just total assets under management? Is it transactions per second? Like, what matter to you?
So, there was a fun. So at some point, one of my friends was going a really remote town in Georgia, and not in the U.S., but in
The country of Georgia.
in the country, and basically he showed that there was a SIM card shop there that had the big Bitcoin and Tether logo. That for me is adoption, right? So, and someone on Twitter made fun of my tweet, saying, look, this doesn't matter, right? This is a small shop. This is exactly what matters, right? So this is what the only thing that matters is exactly that. We don't want Starbucks to necessarily to use Tether, right? It would be cool, but
Maybe
whatever,
one
right?
day, right? Yeah.
But they don't need that, right? The Starbucks don't need Tether. But actually, these shops really do desperately need Tether. So our, when our community give us stories like this is the best metric. It's not easily quantifiable, of course. So then, in order to quantify the most important variables are the market cap, of course, which Tether has been growing in the last 3 weeks, and our competitors went down a few $billions in the last 3 weeks. And the other one is the trading volume. That is even more important, right? Because that tells about the adoption, right? So you, as trading volume, it means that exchanges, we have around 600 exchanges across the globe now accepting Tether, and without counting the merchant shops and whatever, it's that are several, probably hundred thousands. So the number of transactions on blockchain and also on the exchanges, that is the only thing that matter, because it means more and more people are actually using on a day-to-day basis Tether. Also, we are seeing, and there was an article from Bloomberg Wall Street Journal that said that in Turkey, Tether was basically the second currency that traded currency in FX, right? Because I'm not sure what we can do more than this, and what we can hope more than this. Is like
I've
that
been to
is
the big
the only.
bazaar in Istanbul, and you go there, and there are people trading spices and vegetables and seeds and everything you can imagine. And then there are real brick and mortar businesses trading crypto, and people come in person, and you see Tether logos and Bitcoin logos. It is I believe those statistics because I've seen and witnessed the excitement and the utility for regular merchants in all those markets. That's very cool. So market cap, trading volumes, and then those stories that come from emerging communities where someone just really needs the ability to hold some dollars, teleport those over the internet, and access markets and customers. Those are great
Exactly
stories.
that.
Okay, cool. Well, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming on today. So if you're excited about what you heard, you can buy, sell, swap, trade, hold Tether right within the blockchain.com wallet. Go to blockchain.com to get started today. And a real special thank you to Paolo for coming on. We'll make sure he gets back here in 6 months to give us another update and tell us more stories. And we're excited that you shared that news about the BDO audit, although that may not be exciting to many people. I'm sure that was a lot of work for the team, and will certainly help dispel some fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the Twitter sphere. So thanks again for joining us
Thanks,
today. We
Nick.
really appreciate it. Cheers.
Thanks again, Nick. Bye.